Did you see that post?
People are talking.
Here's what's trending on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
All right, y'all, it's time to welcome two icons to the Rickey Smiley Morning Show. They are five-time Grammy Award-winning songwriters, producers, musicians, and entrepreneurs.
And with over 40 years of accomplishments, they are two of the most influential duos in modern music history, writing and producing for artists like Prince, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Usher, Mariah Carey, Elton John, Sting, and the list goes on. They've written 41 top 10 hits in the U.S., and they have more Billboard #1 hits than any other songwriting production team in history, y'all.
I know that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all, please give it up for living legends Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Woo! Yes!
Man, thank y'all for coming on, man. Everybody in here smiling from cheek to cheek, man. What's up?
Hey, man, nice to be with you, man. And as I always say, it's a team sport, man, because we can make the records, but if people don't hear them, it's like we never made them. So we appreciate everybody in that room right now.
Yes, sir, man. Congratulations on being honored with your Lifetime Achievement Award. Do you ever look back and reflect on all that you have accomplished in your career, and how does it feel?
It's been wonderful, man. Music has really shaped our lives. You know, I've known Terry for, over 50 years at this point. We're best friends. We did a 50-50 handshake deal a long time ago, and we've never had an argument. And we get to share it. The cool thing is, and Terry always says this, we get to share whenever we get some sort of an award or some sort of acknowledgement, is that we get to share it with each other. And that's, to me, the nicest thing about it.
Great. Absolutely.
So would you say that you were the masterminds, kind of like behind the Minneapolis sound?
Right.
I don't know about mastermind. I always think Minneapolis sound, I think the roots were planted by Prince. But I think we kind of are, maybe the branches and the twigs that come from that. But I always credit Prince with the actual, the seed planting of the Minneapolis sound for sure.
Okay, he could do the seed planting, but you being modest, y'all are the roots of that thing.
So now, Jimmy Jam and Terry, though, back in the day, now you all were both members of the time. So now, why did y'all leave the group? And people are wondering, is it true that Prince fired y'all?
Well, it's absolutely true, but Terry likes to say he freed us. Not fired us, but freed us. But no, the story, the legendary story was actually in Atlanta. We were down producing the SOS band, and we got caught in a snowstorm down there. And it wasn't a snowstorm because we're from Minneapolis, but we would call it dusting of snow. But it shut the airport down. We weren't able to make our next gig. Subsequently, the same day we were getting ready to go mix the SOS record that we worked on, Prince called and had us to the studio and basically said, I told you guys not to work with other groups, and you worked with the SOS band, so you're fired. So we basically got up, left that, and went over and mixed our first kind of big hit record, which was Just Be Good to Me by the SOS band.
Oh, my God.
So literally the same day we got fired, like literally an hour later, we were in the studio mixing what ended up being our first hit. So it's all God's plan, and that was proof of it.
I know that's right. Go ahead, Alfredus.
No, I was just going to say, so you've been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, of course, and you've written and or produced over 100 albums or singles that have reached gold, platinum, or diamond status. Which one of your songs, and I'm asking both of you this, is most significant and why?
I like the word significant because people always ask favorite, and it's tough to answer favorite. So I'll go first because I already know Terry's answer. I'm going to say significant song, or as I like to put it sometimes, is if there was a time capsule with Jam and Lewis written on the outside of it, and 100 years from now you open that time capsule, the song that would play would be Optimistic by the Sounds of Blackness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that would be the one.
Wow.
I would concur on that one. But my 1A or 1B, however you put it, would be Open My Heart by Yolanda Adams, which is a very impactful song, and, that one means a lot.
Oh, my God.
I know, so many.
Yeah.
So many hits. Okay, let's talk about your work with New Edition. How instrumental were you in Johnny Gill joining New Edition and the formation of BBD?
So it's interesting. We were instrumental in initially getting Johnny signed in the first place. So Gerald Busby, who was the executive at the time, he called us and he said, I want to sign a male artist. Who do you think I should sign? And we both said Johnny Gill. And he said, why? And we said, because he's young But first of all, his voice has always been the same, but he was really too young for his voice. But now he's grown into his voice, and so now we think he'd be the perfect person. So Gerald was the one then that put Johnny into New Edition. So the problem was that I think Rickey and Ralph were against Johnny joining the group, and Biv and Ronnie were for him joining the group. So before we even went in to make the record, we did a conference room meeting, and Johnny was sitting on one side of the table, and I was sitting on the other side of the table, and I just said, Johnny, you know you're not going to sing any leads on this New Edition album because, you know, it's Ralph's group. And I didn't know what Johnny was going to say, and Johnny said, hey, man, that's cool. I'm a team player. So as soon as he said that, that broke the ice with everybody, right? So then everybody was cool. And Ralph and Johnny turned into like the Mutual Admiration Society, because Johnny would watch when Ralph did his vocals, and Ralph could be in there for 5-6 hours just doing vocals. He was just really, you know, proficient at it. But then Ralph would watch when Johnny would go in and do the vocal, and he'd knock his vocal out in like 15 minutes or something, you know. So they got to be the Mutual Admiration Society. But I tell people about this with production. A lot of people think of it from the technical term, but it was more, in that case, it was about the psychological or the therapy or the psychology or whatever you want to call it, was first of all to get everybody on the same page, because if that wouldn't have happened, then Heartbreak, that album never would have happened, you know. The BBD story was at the end of the tour, on their last date of the tour, we said, what are you guys going to do? Because we knew we were getting ready to produce Johnny Gill's album, and we knew we were going to get ready to produce Ralph Tresvant's album. And we looked at the other three guys, and we said, what are y'all going to do? And, you know, I think Ronnie said, I'm going to get into some island, and I'm going to do, everybody had these different plans. You know, Biv had his groups that he was doing. And we said, why don't y'all do a group? And they said, what do we do? And I said, well, Rickey, you sing. And I said, you two guys rap. And they said, oh, and you guys going to produce it? We said, no, get some hip-hop producers to produce it. And so we planted the seeds for that, and then, of course, they ran with it and obviously made it blow up really big. So, yeah, it's cool. It's nice to be part of that New Edition family. And then even when they came back together for the next album, which was Home Again, to have Bobby back in the fold and have all 6 of them together was pretty, you know, amazing also. So, and they just, listen, they got a street named after them in Boston, like about a couple weeks ago, and so deserved. So deserved. Love those brothers.
Wow, what an amazing story. Hey, we got more with the legendary duo Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis coming up next. Rickey Smiley Morning Show. All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. We still have the legendary hitmakers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis on the line with us this morning. And Gary, you had a question?
Now, Jimmy Jam and Terry, you could ask anybody on this show that I'm the most fashionable person on the show. But everybody know y'all for y'all black suits and the hats, the fedoras, and the dog shades. So who came up with y'all signature look?
It was pretty organic. I mean, if you look at the history of my family, that's how all the men dressed in my family. And even when we were in the time, this is how we dressed. Mm-hmm. And so it was just kind of an extension of for me, family lineage and from the time and then into where we are now. And, you know, we just like black because that's the presence of all colors.
Yeah, they say black holds secrecy.
I have pictures of Terry when he was probably 12, 13 years old, you know, playing a bass but with a fedora on. Like, he always had the fedora rocking from his early years. And I had actually dropped out of high school to pursue music, and I just got my honorary, you know, diploma, my high school diploma. But they were showing me pictures from the yearbooks. Thank you. They were showing me pictures from the yearbooks, and I had my dark glasses on, even in that day. And I remember my mom was so pissed about that. She said, why are you taking pictures of your dark glasses? You know, so it just kind of evolved, like Terry said, you know, and that's our signature.
Well, I have a question. What advice do you have for artists today?
I have my general advice to people, and it sounds very cliche, but it's simply be prepared. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people, when we meet them, they'll say, hey, I'm waiting for my break. I'm waiting for somebody to give me a job. I'm waiting for whatever. We always say, take the word waiting out and substitute it with the word preparing. I'm preparing for my break. I'm preparing for my job, or whatever that is. And preparation is, if you want to be a songwriter, you want to be a producer, study the people that you love. All the information's there. It's all on the internet. Find the people. I mean, and I think that you can do a lot of research into it. So then when that break does come, when somebody calls you and says, hey, we need you to do something, you don't go, oh, I just need a couple days to. No, you got to be ready exactly when that happens. So be prepared is always my standard statement.
Yeah, you ain't got to get ready if you stay ready.
Come on.
And listen,
That's right.
you've written and produced songs for many legendary artists, and right now we're going to name some of your songs. And you tell us what's the first thing that comes to your mind. Janet Jackson, Control.
The launch pad.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, New Edition, Can You Stand the Rain?
I see. I can't do it in one word. Well, I'll do it in one word. I'll say blessed. Blessed.
Yeah, I'll say Togetherness.
Oh yeah, Togetherness for sure, T.
Mary J. Blige, No Drama.
Well, I don't want to brag, but I'm going to say Perfection.
All right. Yeah, and Michael Jackson, Scream.
Wow. My word is wow. My word is wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
The last one, and Gary, you're going to love this, Cheryl Lynn, Encore.
Oh, yes. Your love deserves an encore.
Wow.
Beginning.
Yeah, beginnings.
Wow.
And favorite. Favorite would be a word for sure.
All right, we're talking to the legendary Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. The Living Legends Foundation is honoring them with the 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations once again. And let everybody know how they can follow you, man. Just such an honor and a pleasure to have y'all on my show. I remember y'all, Brett, they even helped me when I was doing my BET comedy special. I remember being on the phone with y'all trying to figure out what could we come on stage to. I just appreciate everything y'all have done for everybody and how you have changed the culture. So I just want to personally say thank you. How can people follow you and keep up with all of your projects?
Well, the easiest way to keep up with us is social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. I mean, we basically, and it's all the same. It's Flight Time Jam. It's FLYTETYME. If you do that, you find Flight Time Jam, you find Flight Time Lewis, you find Official Jam and Lewis, and Flight Time Lifestyle, which is our merch thing. So all of those places you can definitely find us. And I just want to thank y'all for being the inspirations for us, because like I said at the beginning, it's a team sport, and if we make the records and nobody plays them and nobody helps people discover them, then it's basically like the tree that falls in the forest and nobody knows. So it's a team sport. We love being on this team of music.
Hey, congratulations, and we absolutely love y'all, man. Y'all give it up for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Woo!